everyone. Welcome to another award-winning edition of the Locker Room Chat. My name is John Williams, and I am joined tonight by my new co-host. He's going to help me out this year and for years to come, hopefully. Some of you may know him. He's got a voice for radio. It's his first time in television, but I'm certainly glad to have with me a longtime friend, Walter Stair.
Nice to be here. Thank you, John.
Thank you for being here, Walter, and joining the crew. Walter called me up last week, and it's something I'd been thinking about a lot. I needed some help, and the good Lord sent Walter my way, and I'm so honored to have you here with me tonight.
Well, I actually am retired to some degree and wanted to get into some different things and hadn't been in sports in a while. And of course, previously done play-by-play and spotting and stuff, and would sort of like to get back in that sort of thing. So,
Tell me a little bit about your history. Folks out there don't know. Walter was in radio for a long time, worked with Charlie Phillips, right?
Oh, yes. Started out when I was 13 years old as a spotter and branched out into play-by-play for both Clinton and Claiborne County and Union County and Rutledge and all across just about the eastern seaboard. So.
Yeah, he was in Claiborne County, I remember.
Right.
Did you do the high school at Claiborne County?
Yes. High school football and basketball.
Did you do some Rutledge games as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was probably before Skylar McBee at Granger, right?
No, we actually covered him. We covered him and his brother and his sister all there.
Okay, wow. But that was fun to watch.
Oh, it certainly was.
But tonight we don't have any guests, but we're going to just look at some teams across our viewing areas, look at them a little bit. Some of the questions they face going into this football season, which is, I believe it's about 3 weeks away.
Yeah, August 19th, I think it's the first in our immediate area. So.
Right, August 19th, you have South Doyle at Oak Ridge, a rematch of last year's state semifinal game. So that's going to be on Rivalry Thursday on the Packer Vision. So I don't really know our schedule yet for the OEB. Our games will be covering, I believe, the first game, I think Channel 12, they're going to be showing Anderson County at Powell.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
If I'm not mistaken, Brad told me. Right here's the schedule. You can see the BBB TV 12 schedule. Pretty impressive list of games there, Walter.
Oh, yeah.
Any game there jump out at you?
Well, of course, the Oak Ridge Clinton, but Clinton's not been on the right side for a number of years. But also Anderson County South Doyle, that ought to be a real big one there for sure.
Yeah, Anderson County making a return trip to South Doyle. Play the Cherokees, and South Doyle now, that's a region game. South Doyle was 5A last year. They've dropped down to 4A and be in the same region as Anderson County. And that was a game last year Anderson County should have won. They were up comfortably at halftime. They gave up a big play right before half, and it sort of jump-started South Doyle, and they came back in the third and fourth quarter and ended up winning the game, went for 2 points and made it right there at the end. Clark Duncan rolled the dice, and
oh, yeah.
South Doyle ended up winning by 1 point. So that should be a dandy game, as you said. There's a Rockwood at Harriman, the oldest rivalry in the state of Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this might be the 102nd year of that series. You also see there Cofield at Midway back-to-back, Harriman at Midway on October 8th. Going to have Signal Mountain at Kingston. Cofield at Oliver Springs. That should be a good game. Yeah. Big rivalry right there. New coach Eric Cofield, Benson Napier. coming on board. See what he can do with the Yellow Jackets this season.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll wrap it up with Loudon at Kingston. That's a region game as well in the new region. Kingston's not in there with Alcoa anymore, so I know they're certainly glad of that.
Oh, you got that right.
And I can remember Loudon and Kingston back when I was a kid, or back when we was kids in the 70s, playing each other. I think both schools won state championships back then. I know Kingston did, and I know Loudon had some really good teams.
Oh, they certainly did.
But that's the BBB TV 12 schedule right there. Kicks off August 20th, Anderson County at Powell. And speaking of Powell, what about that news came out last week with Walter Nolan, the number 1 rated player by ESPN, enrolling at Powell High School?
That's something else. I hope somehow UT can get him.
Right, I'm sure that's the plan.
Oh, yes.
To have Walter Nolan in Knoxville. Walter Nolan, if you don't know, he's 6'4", 300-pound defensive lineman. As I mentioned, rated as the number 1 high school prospect by ESPN. He's been to 4 different schools. He started out at Olive Branch in Mississippi, and went to the IMG Academy for a little bit. And last year he was at St. Benedict, a private school out in West Tennessee, I believe Cordova. But he's now at Powell, so that's just going to make Matt Lowe, the head coach there at Powell, make them Panthers that much stronger. They already have, I think, 2 Division I wide receivers on that team.
Well, that's going to make it rough for Clinton's fortune, certainly in the region.
Certainly will, and Powell was probably picked before Nolan came on board. I'd say Powell was probably picked to win that region. Certainly, Oak Ridge maybe right there with them. That'll definitely be a good matchup there when Powell and Oak Ridge gets together. But once again, our phone lines are open if you'd like to call in. I appreciate your questions or comment for me or Walter. The number is 865-483-8112, and give us a call. If you have a question about your team out there, we're going to go ahead and look at some of the area teams as they head into the season, this 2021 season. Last year was crazy with the COVID, and this time last year we didn't know if we was going to play. But fortunately, TSSAA and all the schools really put forth a lot of effort, and probably more so than we know.
Oh, yeah.
To get the season through. I know West Tennessee, they didn't participate at all last year, and Middle Tennessee, the metro area, Nashville, they just started playing late in the season, I think in October, before they finally picked it up. But this year right now it's full go. But even though the COVID numbers are starting to creep up a little bit, you hear now about schools, students, teachers may have to wear a mask again this year.
Exactly.
And, so hopefully those numbers stay down. We don't want to get in this situation we were in last year.
That's very, very true. And I know the different sort of the COVID has come out that, is sort of running rampant. It's not quite as strong as the regular COVID, but it's, sort of getting around, in other words.
TSSAA released some protocols yesterday for their member schools if they didn't have anything in place. But, most of the schools have something in place, and they're just wanting to, practice, I think, wearing masks and social distancing and things like that. And also, if we have a player that comes down with COVID-19, they'll be quarantined, and hopefully it won't be spread to other players on the team. So hopefully, things will be a little bit lighter in regard to that. I know the fans and the players are really excited about this year. It's this year. I think last year we couldn't have bands there, and some of the cheerleaders had to miss during basketball season. I know couldn't be there, and for most of the season. So hopefully we won't get that bad.
We need the gung-ho spirit out there to get the excitement going.
Certainly do, and missing our clock right now, but we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the night, and we'll be right back and look at some of the teams in our area for this upcoming high school football season. So stick around, and if you have a question or comment, please call in. So you're watching the Locker Room Chat. We'll be right back.
Mulch & More in Midtown is your landscaping headquarters. They offer mulch, topsoil, all types of gravel, sand, rock, crab orchard stone, riprap stone, and limestone gravel. Mulch & More does light excavation work. Do you need a driveway repaired? They can do it. Plus, Mulch & More can do your water and sewer lines, French drains, and more with Ditch Witch services. So whether you only need a half cubic yard up to 20 cubic yards, Mulch & More can help you. Give Gary a call today at 865-234-7060 at Mulch & More in Midtown.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
Cash in your gold now to get the most money. With gold at all-time highs, TK Wheeler Jewelers in Oak Ridge is paying top dollar for your gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, and coins. And TK Wheeler Jewelers pays cash. Broken chains, mismatched earrings, bracelets, rings, old school rings, gold charms, old watches, and even coin collections. TK Wheeler Jewelers in Oak Ridge, where you get the most money now for your old gold. So cash in now at TK Wheeler Jewelers, 422 South Illinois Avenue in Oak Ridge.
At Roan Medical Center, we are committed to serving this community and providing the best possible care for our patients. We have 20 medical specialists on staff representing all areas of care in a clean and safe environment. You don't have to go out of town to receive excellence in outpatient services, so please don't delay. The care you deserve is right here, right now. For the moments of need, we are here for you.
Buff Subaru would like to announce the opening of our brand new, larger facility in Kingston. This new facility was designed to offer unmatched comfort and convenience for our customers. Our service department now offers full tire and alignment services, express oil changes, and a car wash included with each service. We're conveniently located at I-40 exit 356 in Kingston, an easy drive from anywhere in the greater Knoxville area. Earl Duff Subaru, Tennessee's only 10-time winner of the Subaru Love Promise Award.
Take advantage of financing as low as 0% during the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Earl Duff Subaru in Kingston.
We all know that real estate is location, location, location.
Our team at Just Homes Group, Realty Executives, has the true expertise, pairing buyers and sellers with the right opportunities.
Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home right here in Knoxville,
Lenoir City, Clinton, or Farragut, we have the expertise throughout every Knoxville surrounding area. Call Just Homes Group, Realty Executives today.
At OEB Law, our home is your home. And your family is our family. And down here, family takes care of family. Giving back and helping out whenever needed. OEB Law is proud to be from East Tennessee. OEB Law feels like home.
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is your gift destination. Shop the new plush selection for that special someone. We have Bath & Body Works popular fragrances and custom gift baskets too. Live and Let Live has a wide selection of gift and home decor for any occasion, from yard flags to selected jewelry, plus much more. We have Big Orange giftware always available year-round. And don't forget to enjoy a soda fountain treat while you shop. Live and Let Live Drugstore, Gift Shop, and Soda Fountain in downtown Rockwood.
Welcome back into the locker room chat. And my name is John Williams, joined by my new co-host, Walter Stair. And right now we're going to go ahead and look at some of the teams in our viewing area, Roane, Anderson, and Morgan. And we're going to start out with the Anderson County Mavericks. Here's the schedule. Coach Davey Gillum. Coach Gillum started in 2009. And the Mavericks just keep on churning out the winning records.
They certainly do. I'm quite amazed that over all those years they've played Clinton, that Clinton has not won since 2009. That was during the regular season. Then they lost in the playoffs to them and have not beat them since, and they're not playing them this year. So.
Right, and Anderson County went 9-3 last season and bowed out in the second round to the Greenville Green Devils. It's the fourth year Greenville has eliminated Anderson County. I know that's a sore spot for Maverick fans, and that was a game last year that most local pundits had Anderson County winning. But Greenville came back to win that game in the last minute, so a very heartbreaking loss for Anderson County, and that's one of the questions this year facing Anderson County. Folks say, well, can they get past Greenville? But you look at their schedule there. The first 6 games, 4's on the road, and you're starting out at Powell, and then you have come home to play Science Hill, and you got Fulton back in the region, so a region opponent. Then you have 3 straight games on the road with really 3 tough teams, at Ray County, out South Doyle, and at Elizabeth. And
Elizabeth's quite good.
A 2-time defending state champion. So folks talk about Greenville, but you got Elizabeth up there now is the team to beat. And so I think their quarterback Rollins, I believe is his name for Elizabeth. I believe he's back. So. Coach Witten's really got it going on up there for the Cyclones. The schedule for Anderson County is really it's rated 5th by 5-star preps this year, so it's the 5th toughest.
I think so, and Gibbs might be one of your lighter opponents, or Bearden, and they're still very tough.
Right. Gibbs they came on last year, and Carter as well. They had a really good season under Coach Presley, the first-year coach, and I think they started out 5-0, and then they lost, down the stretch, but didn't make the playoffs, I don't believe. But that's a rivalry Thursday game. They'll host Carter, but it's a very demanding schedule. The key question mark for Anderson County, I think, is their line play. They suffered some heavy losses on the line, some really key linemen, mentioning one of the strongest young men I know is Stone Cummins. Him along with some of his buddies, his seniors, they won't be there. So the line play is key. You have Sully Sexton back off that line. He was a starter last year, and he's back to anchor that line. And, I hear they've got some potential on that line. Just got some younger kids, and they're hoping to bring them along with this schedule, and they'll certainly be ready, I think, playing this schedule by postseason.
Well, I would think so. Powell's going to be very difficult to start the season with the new player that transferred in and some of those other quality wide receivers.
Certainly, and that was a game last year Anderson County I thought should have won. Powell's quarterback, Jordan Potts, made a Houdini play to get loose, scrambled out, threw a touchdown pass to one of those receivers you're talking about to stun Anderson County. They were early in the season. I believe that was maybe the second game of the season last year, and but that was Anderson County only lost 3 games last year and by a total of 5 points. So certainly had some tough losses, and but as I mentioned, Sully Sexton He's back at anchor that line. Anderson County in a new region this year. They won't be playing the teams in Chattanooga, and where they went undefeated 4 straight years in that region. Really run roughshod over that region, and a lot of people were criticizing the Mavericks over their schedule, saying that's why they couldn't beat Greenville, because they didn't play enough tough opponents. But they played Powell. The South Dole picked up Jeff County. Jeff County's a little bit down, but even though that schedule, that district or that region might have been a little light, Anderson County's had really good teams the last 4 years or longer than that. I don't know how far you want to go back, but they've been knocking on that door, and and they've got a good group coming back a little bit. They got a really good a junior class, led by Gavin Noe. He had a running back. He's 6'1", 225 pounds, had over 1,400 yards rushing last year, and he's just a workhorse. And I heard Coach Gillum mentioning him the other night on the Channel 6, talking about it. He's there's nobody else in America that plays, or more so than with his intensity and his toughness than Gavin Noe does.
Yeah. Sounds like a John Riggins of the old Washington Redskins.
And he's also plays linebacker, so he's a really talented player, and he's preseason All-State. Another kid's preseason All-State is the wide receiver Bryson Val. He's a big, lanky kid. You can go up and get it. And he'll be catching passes from the Walker Martinez, their quarterback. He's a junior as well, and he came on last year about midway through the season, took over as a QB1 for Anderson County. And, Martinez had an excellent year. I thought when he came on, he's really accurate throwing the football. Doesn't throw many interceptions, and he's got a lot of potential.
Oh, yes.
And some other players for Anderson County, some seniors you want to look at. You got Garrison Terry and also Zach Shannon. So to go along with Sully Sexton, that's 3 good seniors right there to lead Anderson County coming into this year. As I mentioned, they're in a new region with South Dole and Fulton. I don't really know all the teams. I think Gibbs, and we'll get into that later, but that's a look at Anderson County. Right now, let's look at the Clinton Dragons. Let's throw the Dragons up there. There you see the Dragon schedule, Walter.
Oh, yes. I think the first game, they've got a pretty decent chance, and along with Austin East, the Dragons have more of what I would call a manageable schedule in comparison to recent years, which they were playing Kingsport, Dobbins Bennett, and Fulton, which Fulton during a lot of those years were quite good. And in recent times, Fulton's been down a little bit, but they're always capable of certainly coming back.
Exactly, and the region is lightened up for Clinton this year. Off the region schedule is West Rebels, a past state champion. Also, as you mentioned, Fulton, they're in Anderson County's region, and dropped down back to 4A. The Falcons did, but Clinton's the schedule's lightened up a little bit, and you mentioned William Blount start out with over there in Blount County. I was reading something today. 5-Star Preps was ranking them as one of the sleeper teams to watch this year. So the Governors, they were improved last year, so that's going to be a good test for Clinton going over there in week 1.
Well, I certainly think so. Just the Dragons with skill position, particularly quarterback, I think they can do some good things. And the fact that you've got them in Austin East before Oak Ridge and then Cherokee after that, I'm just hoping they can get a couple of wins to get their confidence built up.
Right, and that's what Coach Keith, that's a good point. Coach Keith's talked about the confidence level. I think that's one of the key questions for the Dragons coming in. He mentioned the kids have got to believe in themselves. Got to get some wins. I think Clinton's won 10 games in the last 5 years. And last year they went 1-7, and So only winning like 1 or 2 games for these last 5 years. So it's been tough, and Coach Keith said the kids have been beat down, and it's part of the reason they took Anderson County off the schedule. I believe, this Coach Keith's wanting to build his program. Clinton seemed to be, they play Anderson County every year, as you mentioned. They've lost to them every year, I think, since 2000.
2009.
Yeah, and beat them in 2009, but AC come back to put Clinton out of the playoffs. But Coach Keith mentioned that, and he's wanting to build his program, and trying to get as many wins as he can to make the program more attractive. And certainly a lot of folks in Anderson County and Clinton fans, they want to see that game played. But I can see Coach Keith's point.
But when you've got West and Anderson County, which are pretty much definite losses, or almost definite losses, and you've got Powell anyway on the schedule, and you've got Oak Ridge on the schedule, I mean, you've got a murderous row.
Right, and certainly. And last year you had Meigs County, and of course that game was a COVID game, wasn't played along with the Powell game. But Meigs County went to the state championship. Clinton's schedule has been really tough. But this schedule here is more manageable. As you can see there, Austin East comes in week 2. AE was down last year. I don't think AE won a game last year, and that was, for last year, they were really good teams under Coach Jeff Phillips.
Oh, yeah.
The Roadrunners did. I don't know what happened there last year, but they've got some players back this year that will make the Roadrunners a formidable opponent, I'm sure. And this will be the first time since 1982 that Clinton has played Austin East.
I didn't realize that it had been that long.
You probably did the play-by-play on that game.
Yes, I certainly did, along with Charlie Phillips, the late great.
So then you look down the other, Cherokee, Chattanooga Central, the Purple Pounders. That's a team that Anderson County pounded on for the last 4 years. So that's a trip to Chattanooga. Campbell County's a region game. Lenore City's back in the region. They're probably glad to get out of that region with Maryville and all those teams. So they've dropped down to 5A, and Gibbs, that'll be a big game at Gibbs. Gibbs has improved. That'll be a tough game. And you close out with Carnes once again. That's the only game Clinton won last year was at Carnes. But, Carnes, they've got Deshaun Bishop over that running back. He's the best running back I've seen in the last few years. I think him and Gavin Noe, they're different type of runners. But that Deshaun Bishop, he had a couple games last year where he scored 6 touchdowns. So I don't want to start comparing running backs. But Bishop's good. There's a lot of good running backs in this area. I didn't mean to go there, but
right. I can see the Dragons possibly winning 5 games. There's chance with some luck and some good play. I can see the Dragons more than what is it? 5 times what they won last year.
Right. I'm thinking 5 or 6 wins there. Don't want to start counting wins. They could win more than that. Clinton will be an improved this year. As we mentioned, some of the big questions coming in is their confidence. That's getting victories, but their line play, I think that'll be that's a big question. Had a young line last year. Had some freshmen throw it in the mix there, and they've got some sophomores now on that line, and one of those is Rhett Sievers, the big, strong kid. He'll be starting on the line. They have a transfer from Central, Barrett Maddox. He's a big kid. They're really counting on him a lot to come in there and play a lot and really help the line play. And also, Clinton's got a quarterback battle, I think, going on right now. The starter has not been named, but Coach Darrell Keith's son, Joshua Keith, is a sophomore, and he came on last year and replaced Trace Thagerson, who started the season. Now, Thagerson is a senior this year, and he's back. He had a leg injury this year, but, he's back, and I've seen some video clips where he's throwing the ball. He looks really good, and so you got Coach Keefe's son there, a sophomore, so I think you got a battle there. You know, you got two good quarterbacks that will help. You know, they could probably mix and match.
That's a good thing, a good problem to have, definitely, where that's concerned.
And 11 starters returned for Clinton this year, and some of the top other players we mentioned are Rhett Sievers, a sophomore, but a senior, Connor Moody. He's just a warrior, goes both ways, a big, strong kid, a running back, a linebacker. You also have a kid I really like a lot is Andy King. He played in the secondary last year. As a sophomore, he played a lot at wide receiver. I'm thinking he might have played some quarterback. I'm not sure, but he's a really good athlete. That was Coach McCanamy's last year, but Andy King really could catch the ball. He's a really good heady player. They'll be counting on him a lot. Wide receiver, Jeremiah Blavelt, a 6'4" kid. He can go up and get it. You got Rodavian Truss as well. It brings you speed. They've got 4 transfers I heard of from the Knoxville area. It's coming in, freshmen. I don't really know their names or anything, but you got some speed there. I think they're picking up.
I'm glad to hear that. We'll take all the good players we can transfer with.
And what else? I was going to mention something. But anyway, Clinton, if you see their schedule there, they kick it off at William Blunt. So also Clinton's got some new coaches on the staff as well. Don Colquitt, I think he come over from Oak Ridge. I don't think he was on the staff at Oak Ridge. He's an Oak Ridge guy. Even heard Quayu Graham has been helping with the Dragons.
That sounds good.
I know he's got head coaching experience at Austin East. And but anyway, we're going to go ahead and take our second break of the night. And stick around. We'll be looking at the Oak Ridge Wildcats next. So give us a call, question, or comment. And you're watching the Locker Room Chat.
At OEB Law, our home is your home. And your family is our family. And down here, family takes care of family. Giving back and helping out whenever needed. OEB Law is proud to be from East Tennessee. OEB Law feels like home.
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is the premier pharmacy service location. Let our professional staff help with all your pharmacy needs, answer your questions, or help with your medication management with our Medicine on Time packaging system. We also offer medication therapy management to ensure you're receiving maximum benefits from your medication. Diabetes care is available with one-on-one consultations, or you can attend one of our monthly diabetes information classes. Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood.
We treat you like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. We treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
At Roan Medical Center, we are committed to serving this community and providing the best possible care for our patients. We have 20 medical specialists on staff representing all areas of care in a clean and safe environment. You don't have to go out of town to receive excellence in outpatient services, so please don't delay. The care you deserve is right here, right now. For the moments of need, we are here for you.
Duff Subaru would like to announce the opening of our brand new, larger facility in Kingston. This new facility was designed to offer unmatched comfort and convenience for our customers. Our service department now offers full tire and alignment services, express oil changes, and a car wash included with each service. We're conveniently located at I-40 exit 356 in Kingston, an easy drive from anywhere in the greater Knoxville area. Earl Duff Subaru, Tennessee's only 10-time winner of the Subaru Love Promise Award.
Take advantage of financing as low as 0% during the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Earl Duff Subaru in Kingston.
Cash in your gold now to get the most money. With gold at all-time highs, TK Wheeler Jewelers in Oak Ridge is paying top dollar for your gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, and coins. And TK Wheeler Jewelers pays cash. Broken chains, mismatched earrings, bracelets, rings, old school rings, gold charms, old watches, and even coin collections. TK Wheeler Jewelers in Oak Ridge, where you get the most money now for your old gold. So cash in now at TK Wheeler Jewelers, 422 South Illinois Avenue in Oak Ridge.
Mulch & More in Midtown is your landscaping headquarters. They offer mulch, topsoil, all types of gravel, sand, rock, crab orchard stone, riprap stone, and limestone gravel. Mulch & More does light excavation work. Do you need a driveway repaired? They can do it. Plus, Mulch & More can do your water and sewer lines, French drains, and more with Ditch Witch services. So whether you only need a half cubic yard up to 20 cubic yards, Mulch & More can help you. Give Gary a call today at 865-234-7060 at Mulch & More in Midtown.
We all know that real estate is location, location, location.
Our team at Just Homes Group, Realty Executives, has the true expertise, pairing buyers and sellers with the right opportunities.
Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home right here in Knoxville,
Lenoir City, Clinton, or Farragut, we have the expertise throughout every Knoxville surrounding area. Call Just Homes Group, Realty Executives today.
Welcome back in the locker room chat, and I'm John Williams, and joined by Walter Stair, and we're looking at some of the teams in their area. So let's get back in that for the high school football. Right now, the Oak Ridge Wildcats. The Wildcats fresh off an appearance in the Blue Cross Bowl, the state championship last year, Walter, and you know what a magical run the Wildcats got on. Started the season 2-3 and won 9 straight games to get to the championship game.
Yeah, they had a very slow start and then just started rolling and rolling and rolling and ended up, 11-4 on the season, and they've got a great running back, and he returns.
That running back is Kendall Jackson. I think he had 900 yards last year. I believe, I'm not mistaken. He had some nagging injuries, but you know, once he got rolling, you know, the Wildcats got rolling, but a lot of it was defense too for Coach Joe Gaddis and his Wildcats. And, you know, Coach Gaddis comes in, he's already in the Hall of Fame. He's, you know, one of the top coaches around. He's his second stint at Oak Ridge, and he won a state championship for the Wildcats in '91. But Coach Gaddis, just a great coach. He's 331 overall and 138 losses overall. And while he's at Oak Ridge, he's 193-50. So that's a pretty good record.
That is quite impressive. And I sort of was kidding back when he came back. I said, Gaddis is coming back to Oak Ridge. I said, that's Back to the Future.
Right. And Oak Ridge fans really liked it last year, that run the Oak Ridge got on, and ended up losing to Summit in the state championship, I think 24-7. But you know, the Wildcats having to replace some players as all teams normally do, but you know, they do have some good ones coming back, as we mentioned, Kendall Jackson, and some of the question marks for the Wildcats will be a quarterback play coming in this year. They lost the quarterback that graduated, Mitchell Gibbons, a 2-year starter. He left, and right now they've got a quarterback battle going on between 2 junior quarterbacks, Hayden Tarwater and Peyton Sharp. So Coach Gaddis has not named a starter there yet either.
Well, it's always good to have 2 quarterbacks that are doing pretty well, and that'll give them depth at that position, with the running back Jackson doing as well as he'll probably be doing. they'll probably be set again, unfortunately for Clinton, which is one of my favorite teams. So.
Right, and that game will be in week 3. I believe that's a OEB game of the week here on Channel 12. And some other questions for the Wildcats. They have a young secondary and also the defensive line. So suffered some losses there from graduation. One of the kids, the big kids, Adams, that played last year. Trying to think of his first name, but anyway, the big kid Adams, he's now over at Tennessee, I believe. I heard he walking on over there, so might be a good chance he'll earn a scholarship and get some playing time.
Yeah, they certainly need that at Tennessee. Need the linemen to get things going again for the Volunteers.
Another key player back for the Wildcats is linebacker Jacob Burvin, a really tough kid. Made a lot of tackles last year, and they're counting on him for big things on the Wildcat defense. Switching back over to offense, as we mentioned, Kendall Jackson. They also have an outstanding wide receiver in Brandon Hayward. He's a sophomore, and he came on last year as a freshman and looked really, really good. Sort of remind you a little bit of T. Higgins, I guess. That's how talented he is.
Oak Ridge usually has the speed, and that's what kills.
Certainly, and also some news found out last night. Some breaking news: Oak Ridge picked up 3 transfers from West High School. So one of those, Ja Hunley, he's an offensive weapon last year for West. Also, he's an outstanding kick returner, but he can play in the slot. He's really quick, and, he's going to provide a lot of excitement in that Oak Ridge offense to go along with Hayward and Jackson. Also, another transfer from West, Isaiah Rogers, and he is one of the top defensive backs, so he's really going to help that secondary for Coach Gaddis.
Well, they're going to probably have another run after 11-4 last year, and I don't guess they've actually moved per se, have they, region-wise? So.
No, Oak Ridge still in 5A. They're in there with Clinton and Powell and Campbell County, Old North City, and another team, Carnes, I think. So Oak Ridge, one of the top teams in that region. You have that schedule there, Chandler. Throw up the Wildcats. Here's their schedule. As we mentioned at the top of the show, they got South Dole coming in that rematch of that state semifinal game. What do you think about that schedule, Walter?
I think South Dole will be another very close game, and the fact that they played at the very last part of this past year should make it interesting, and it'll be fresh in both teams' minds. And then Bearden, they'll probably win. Bearden is sort of up and down, but they've had a couple of slow starts the last couple of years. And then Clinton will be probably another win, which Clinton has not beat Oak Ridge since 2009, at least to my recollection. And then Farragut is a very big rivalry too, and Farragut is always capable, and they sometimes switch back and forth, win-wise. So.
Yeah, that Clinton game at Clinton, that's back-to-back years Oak Ridge has traveled to Clinton, so it's sort of rare. It's usually a home and away, but every now and then the schedule gets juggled around, and the team might have to make 2 straight trips. So the Wildcats will be coming back to the Dragon Den. You see Powell. That'll probably be for the region championship, October 1st. And then look at that game at Greenville.
Ooh, that'll be something else. Greenville's always very solid, and they've knocked Anderson County out quite a few times recently.
So that'll be that's a big challenge there for Oak Ridge going up to Greenville. Then you have Ad Carnes and then Dobbins Bennett, a big rivalry game. DB came to Oak Ridge last year and had their way with them early in the season. I think they beat them like 19-3, and Oak Ridge couldn't even get a touchdown, but they had a lot of chances inside the 20 and the 10, but came away empty. But DB's is a really good team.
They have played and played. I remember one season, and I guess it'll show my age, but back in the 1970s, they played at Blankenship Field in a playoff game. It was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. I want to say the final score was like 35-28, but it was in the 1970s, and I think Kingsport won it, but it was one of the best games I had seen to that point.
Was that in the late 70s,
Yes.
back when Oak Ridge was winning a couple states?
Exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm. So Dobbin Bennett, they're a 6A school, and they're the winningest high school in the state of Tennessee. At least they were. I believe they still are. They got more wins than any high school in the state, but they've yet to win a state championship. So, they're in there with Maryville too, so that makes it tough for them. I think Maryville eliminated Dobbins Bennett last year. Dobbins Bennett had a good team. I'm not sure what they got coming back, but that's always a good game, as you mentioned. And then they close out with Campbell County. So there is a look at your Oak Ridge Wildcats. Right now, let's dip down into 3A, the Kingston Yellow Jackets. Let's take a look at the Yellow Jackets. Head coach Brian Pankey. He began coaching at Kingston in 2013, and the Yellow Jackets, have been in the region with Alcoa, but now they're in a different region. As you can see their schedule there, they're in a region with Sweetwater, McMinn Central, Signal Mountain, and Loudon. Brainerd, I believe, is in that region as well. So a different look for the Yellow Jackets this year. I'm sure they're glad to get off Alcoa's schedule, but the Yellow Jackets last year went 7-4 and were eliminated by Alcoa. But Coach Pankey, he lost some key players last year, but he still has some good players coming back.
Right, and they've got I guess you'd say a rivalry schedule. You've got Harriman and Oliver Springs and Rockwood on the schedule, 3 out of the first 4, and that's all in the general area of Rome County, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, you look at that schedule start, probably, I'm not sure what Harriman's got, but it looks like, Oliver Springs had 2 good teams here the last couple of years, made a state quarterfinal appearance. I know Bobcats lost quite a few players. I think they're in rebuilding mode, but Kingston could start out, Rockwood's a good team. We'll get to Rockwood later, but Kingston at Rockwood will be that's a OEB game of the week. That'll be a good one, but certainly expect to see Yellow Jackets back in the playoffs, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
Some key players they got the quarterback back, Kane Collins. He's be a senior. Also a key newcomer for Kingston, Ryland Gettner. He's a sophomore, really talented player. He went to a combine at Tusculum College earlier in the spring, I think, and he got rated number 9 out of 100 players there. So the combine there, where they test you for your speed and strength and all that, and but Ryland Gettner, he plays the wing there as a Coach Pankey. They run a form of the wing T. Some other players looking out there for Kingston coming back: Cooper Webb, Carson Donathan, Kane Ladd, Seth Strahan, Jacob Eskridge, Mason Hatfield, and Braden Wright. So there's a look at your Kingston Yellow Jackets. Let's go ahead and look at the Rockwood Tigers. Now, Rockwood 5-star preps has mentioned them as a sleeper team, a team to really watch this year. Mm-hmm. They return a talented junior class, Rockwood does, and they are coached by John Webb, longtime coach there for the Tigers. And the last couple of years, Rockwood has made it to the second round of the playoffs. They ran into South Green. South Green's had some really good teams over the years here.
I didn't realize he had been there 26 years, and they almost always are a very competitive football team.
Right, and they've got a good team coming back this year. As I mentioned, some of the talented juniors. They got quarterback Dryston Turner. He's a dual threat type quarterback, electrifying player. They have a junior running back, Dakota Waldo. He's a really strong kid. Had over 600 yards last year. I think they're expecting him to double that this year. And have a big lineman, a junior lineman, Nehemiah Story, that they're really high on. So Coach Webb's got some talent there at his disposal, as the Tigers went 8-4 last season. You look at their schedule, starting out at Oliver Springs and at Sweetwater. And as I mentioned, they're in a new region. They're no longer in the same region as Meigs County, but they are in with Oneida.
Oneida is quite capable, and that whole schedule is pretty difficult, I think, but
yeah,
they're always a pretty good football team.
Mm-hmm. There's some new faces on that schedule. You see at the bottom a couple of new region opponents, McMinn Central and York Institute. 2 home games to close out the season. Also Pickett County, that's another new team, I believe, on the schedule. Monterey, of course, Monterey's had some pretty good teams here in the past. Monterey down there, and right before you get to Cookeville, I believe, and
yeah, just down from Crossville.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good-looking schedule out there for Rockwood. They're going to be on BBB TV 12 twice, hosting Kingston and also Harriman. That's that big, longest-running rivalry in the state. So that's a game right there. Fans are always excited, Rockwood and Harriman, to get together when they play. Looking at some more things, some of the question marks for Rockwood, I think their depth. I was reading their depth is a concern. They got a lot of guys going both ways, so depth is a concern. But they do have 7 starters going both ways, so that's a lot of returning starters to have. Some other key players, they got 3 seniors to watch out for. Jaden Hannibal, he's a do-it-all kid. He's like a joystick type player. Turns kicks, runs the ball, defensive back. He's just a very exciting player to watch. Also a senior offensive lineman, linebacker, a center, David Collins. Counting on him a lot to anchor that Tiger offensive line. And a running back, another running back, defensive back, senior Dom Moran. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. I apologize if I'm not. M-O-R-A-N, Moran. But some good players there for Coach Webb and his Tigers this year. So they're a team to watch, I think, Rockwood is this year. I think they can get past the second round this year, and they can get to that quarterfinal game. Anything can happen.
Very true. They've got a lot of those teams. I'm not as used to seeing your York Institute and Pickett County. I'm not that familiar with those teams.
Right. York's been a pretty decent team. They can win some games. They're the Dragons too, don't you?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's only like 3 Dragon named teams in the state. As far as I know, the other one's down West Tennessee, Collierville.
Okay.
They're the Dragons. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and look at Wartburg Bulldogs next. Wartburg's in that Rockwood region, and Wartburg is a 2A school, and they're coached by Kevin Human. And Last year, Wartburg, well, I'm not sure on their schedule. I've got 1-9 there. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I think it might not be right. But anyway, Kevin Heumann is the coach for the Wartburg Bulldogs, and some of the key question marks for them is going to be their size this year on the line. They're sort of small on the offensive line, and I guess defensive line as well.
That could make it rough. They might get pushed around a little bit more than they normally would.
Yes, Wartburg didn't make the playoffs. Didn't make the playoffs last year, but they did win some games. I think they had 3 wins going in their last 2 games. I'm not sure. I apologize for that. They have some good skill players returning and a couple good freshmen on the roster as well. And some of these players to watch for Wartburg will be Damon Duncan and Samuel McCarty at quarterback. Some backs and wide receivers. You have Ethan Stedham, Landon Quinney, and Austin Beasley. And on the line, both ways will be Coach Heumann will be counting on Perion Cruz and Hunter Morgan. So I remember those names from last year. Some good linemen there for the Bulldogs. So Wartburg's in that schedule there. Open up at Cofield. That'll be tough. Look at some of their region opponents. They're a 2A school, so they're in there with Rockwood and York. I think Monterey as well. So the Bulldogs, if they can get off to a good start, they got a tough one there at Oneida in week 3.
Certainly, and I think Cofield will be pretty rough the first week. Cofield just about always has a good one, and you go down the schedule, Rockwood down towards the last of the schedule will be extremely tough as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and look at our last team of the night, the Oliver Springs Bobcats. We got a few minutes left in the show, and Oliver Springs Bobcats, coached by Larry Green. They've been to the state quarterfinals the last 2 years, and were eliminated last year by Cofield. But Coach Green, they suffered some heavy losses this year. I heard they was going to be in a rebuilding mode. They're going to have a young team, and they lost a lot up front. But they do have some good seniors returning, and Jacob Heilman and Tyler Bridges. So, but the Bobcats, really had some good teams the last couple years, and it's going to be interesting to see the Bobcats can continue to win some games like they have been. They went 10-3 in 2019, and last year ended up 7-6, winning record, but they had a better team than their record, I believe. But you see their schedule there, starting out with Rockwood at home, Kingston at home. They go to Gordonsville. They're always a tough team, and then Oneida and that Greenback. So that's a look at your Oliver Springs Bobcats, and Tyler Harper's up from middle school. Is going to be their new defensive coordinator, I know, and Wendell Jones is taking over at the middle school. So I heard good things about Wendell. But that's a look at your Oliver Springs Bobcats. So we'll get more in depth as the weeks come along. Look at these teams more closely. We didn't get to your team. We will get to them next week, hopefully. But we're going to go ahead and get off here. And Walter, I appreciate you being here, and thank you for being a part of this show.
Certainly glad to be here.
For Walter Stair, I'm John Williams. You've been watching the Locker Room Chat, and we'll see you next week.